spread out.
Good, hey, Laura.
Did
I take your seat?
No, this is your seat. No, that's absolutely. All right, let's get it going. Mayor Pagano, I know, has a busy schedule. I think.
Hello, Doug.
Hey, how are you? How's it working out?
Thank you
Good. Yeah.
very
Okay.
much.
Great.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Keep us apprised. Okay.
Do we want to call the meeting to
Can I
order?
get a motion to bring the meeting to order?
So
Motion.
moved.
Second. Okay.
Okay.
Call it real quickly.
All right. Commissioner French?
Here.
Commissioner Pagano?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosenberg is absent, as is Commissioner Salanitro. Commissioner Brett?
Yes, here.
Okay.
Commissioner Brett, would you lead us in the pledge?
Sure.
Since you gave us our quorum tonight.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now, Mayor Pagano is very kindly left intense negotiations, discussions, and executive sessions in the village of Portchester to come here tonight to vote on, to give us a quorum so we can vote on various issues. So, Bishop, let's go straight to the issues that require a vote, and then I'm going to ask the public to indulge us a little bit, the public comments to come a little later, if that's okay. So we can get straight to the business.
Heather Patterson here? No. Okay. Then you go right to correspondence. All of the stuff that requires any attention from the commissioners is there.
All right.
All right. We have a tree donation. Typically, we pass this on to the Friends of Rytown Park. However, this is a tree donation in honor of a dog. We just wanted to make sure the commission understood what's being requested.
Okay. So is there any vote that needs to be?
Well, we just want some guidance here. Are you fine with dedicating trees to dogs? Or would you prefer that they be dedicated to humans? I just don't know. If you say yes, we refer it right to the Friends of Rytown Park.
Well, just let me understand. Someone is preparing to give us a tree for free if we name it after their dog?
More or less, yes. In memory of our loving pet Ailey, an adorable Bichon Frise.
And you want to?
I mean, in the stuff that I printed out from Bishop, it appears they picked out a spot where they want it and everything else. I'm very happy, as part of the Friends, to be in touch with them. I mean, I'm not sure that the tree they want is going to go along with the tree plan of the park, but...
Well, maybe if I can make a suggestion, can I ask Ann that you coordinate with them, and Bishop, you put Ann in touch with them, and so we make sure it's, because, I mean, I certainly don't have any objection contributing trees to the park, but I think we...
right off that there are no plaques on trees.
Okay.
So there will be no memory of doggy.
Well, why don't you meet with them, and then I think there's two things. One is we want to make certain that the tree is consistent with the landscaping of the park and the nature of the tree and all that. But I think as a board we should decide whether or not we're going to have plaques on the trees. So I think that should be a decision made at the board level.
That's your decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but and obviously we want to get input from the Friends as well.
Okay.
So, but I think in the interim.
I'm happy to call them and report.
Great. Would you coordinate that, Bishop?
Okay.
Okay,
You got
terrific.
it.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Bench donation.
Yeah, the bench donation, typically we have handled the same way. We have more or less stepped aside. What I did want to bring up to the commission is that there are plenty of benches in the park right now. Typically, the Friends of Friends of Rytown Park order teak benches, and they have a price schedule and everything else. I wanted to recommend that the commission at least take under advisement the possibility that we look at all of our other benches in the park. The benches that are along the seawall, for example, are in disrepair. The benches all around the admin building, etc., are in disrepair. And perhaps reserve judgment and come up with a pricing policy for benches in the park and allow us to perhaps go for replacements. These benches, by the way, they generally cost somewhere in the $1,000 to $1,500 range, depending on the type of bench that you're getting. Then you get a premium on top of that for the plaque and those kinds of things.
Well, again, I think, so you're suggesting that they basically use this donation to replace an older bench?
Well, I'm suggesting that the past policy be perhaps reviewed by the commission, because in the past, we've pretty much handed it off to the Friends of Rytown Park, like you just handed off the tree. But in this case, I think there are plenty of benches throughout the park in a number of areas, and we have a very definitive need in terms of the hardware, if you will, that we have, that we're responsible for, not the Friends. And that is...
Well, why don't you coordinate this with the Friends as well? Why don't you, please, Ann.
Can I just say
Why don't you,
that-
could you come up, Ann? Or just, oh, never mind.
I don't...
No, it's okay, yep. Yeah, we can't hear you, it's a thing, yep.
Okay, I'm actually very happy to call this family as well. When they hear about the teak benches that cost like way more than $1,500, $2,000,
Okay.
$3,500, they're expensive. Maybe they're not looking for that type of bench. Maybe they're looking to replace one of them along the walk by the beach where the nice fence is, and that's probably a lot less money. So I'm happy to talk with...
Could you coordinate with
Okay.
Bishop Ann?
Yeah,
right,
sure,
so-
I'm happy to.
right.
And the dog tree, and I just, since I'm up here,
Yep.
I just wanted to ask about the lighting in the park, because I know that there were a couple of bad incidents just recently, and I'm sure that if there can't be security at that late hour, maybe we should enhance the lights. Plus at 5:30, 5:45, they were off this morning, and it's really dark again in the morning, and starting to be dark earlier at night, so I just wanted to make sure we were all on board
It's in my-
with the lights. I know it's in your report, I'm
Well,
sure it is.
Why don't,
But I'm here.
Yeah, no.
do you mind just let me do that with the public comments, Ann? So we'll just stay
Absolutely.
with, so just because we can...
Okay, and I just wanted to ask one thing about, I did receive all this information from Bishop about the track. Is there going to be more information coming on that?
Yeah, that's part of some of the
Why don't you take-
things that we're asking the commission to
Okay.
rule
Yeah, or
on.
you can stay
Good.
there, in fact, you can stay there.
No, I don't need to stay
Or you
here.
could just take a seat in the front
I
while we
don't
were...
wanna do
Okay. Okay.
All right,
So
we'll be
so
glad
you're
to
going
do
to
that.
coordinate, all right, with the bench, with the Friends, Bishop, and...
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And we'll be back to you next month, hopefully
Great.
with a policy of
Yeah.
pricing and a bench selection.
Wonderful.
Okay.
And is the commission happy with that?
Sounds fine,
Yep.
yeah.
Fine. All right.
High performance track club practice venue
Okay.
request.
We received a number of rather late requests. This is one of them. There is a company, if you will, that services a track club, if you will, et cetera. I think they're housed in Rye. They want to have practices at Rytown Park. Now, fundamentally, there's not that much of a problem there, depending on when they want to have practices and how many people they're going to run through to have practices. Remember, you already have boot camp by the beach there, doing exercising and so forth on the beach and so forth. This is kind of a different activity, but we get requests like this constantly. So our concern here is we're not sure if cross-country track training or some sort of track training is viable at the park. We wanted to perhaps get a little bit more information. They're talking about working with the schools, and they're talking about younger children. I think if you read it, they're going from K through, what is it?
Please.
Bishop, I think people are here to talk about this.
Oh, okay.
So if we want to...
Oh, are they?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
know that. I'm
I
sorry.
happened to see them in the hall on my way
Oh.
out, so...
Hi, thanks for having us. I'm Ed Stickles. We also have two other coaches, Julio Herman and Nogo Rutenberg, who will be representing the club. This is a new club that we're starting. when Julio and I coached together boys track down in Bronxville, we started a youth program there. That took off. We've since stopped coaching there, and there's been a lot of outreach from parents, Rye, Greenwich, Portchester, the area, that have young kids that are interested in doing much the same. So we've decided that it would be a great opportunity to reach out to the youth in the area and develop a track club here as well. It will be for young kids up through adults. It will be under the umbrella of the USA Track and Field Association, so there will be an insurance waiver that's attached through them. We are all certified coaches. We are looking to start this as soon as possible. The objective of using the Ryetown Park is for the cross-country practices, and it won't be able to interfere with the boot camps because I believe those are in the morning. Our program would run in the evenings after school, and it's open. It'll be open to all youth, so there will be kids that are involved in soccer, lacrosse, hockey that don't have the opportunity to participate with their school team in track and field, but yet are still interested. So it'll be open for everybody to participate. We don't know numbers yet. We've had a pretty good interest so far from parents. We haven't gotten any commitments because we're not able to give them information until we have a venue for practicing. The events, the track meets, the cross-country meets themselves would not take place at the park. New York Roadrunners Club offers youth age group meets down at Van Cortlandt Park for cross-country. Metropolitan Athletic Association offers meets. We have schedules that we can look at and take the kids to those. We just need a place where we can get a safe place for them to meet and be under the auspices of the coaches and be able to practice. And that's what we're looking for. Any questions?
Is there a season?
There are multiple seasons. Cross-country runs from late August through early November, and then we would transition into what's called indoor track and field. And those meets are held, generally the age group meets are held at the Armory in New York City. Parents would be responsible for getting the kids there. The coaches would meet them there. And then spring track is in the spring. And there are lots of age group meets, different organizations. Hershey's has their Hershey's track meets, and kids qualify for championships at Hershey Park. There's junior Olympic level, just like swimming. And then in the summer, there are some summer track age group meets. There's a great one up in Hen Hud, up in Hendrick Hudson High School. So,
what kind of utilization do you see throughout the course of the year?
in the park itself, we're looking for a facility where we can do some running on the grass for the kids to give them experience running on the grass, because that's what cross-country really is, using the little hills there to practice to get some strength. We're looking to use the track at the high school as well to work on the speed. Anything I'm leaving out? Sorry.
Well, I'm looking for seasonality. We have a fairly busy summer, if
Right.
you will, related to the beach. So I'm trying to figure out how you sandwich your
Summer, of course.
season around this.
Yeah, summer, given where you live and where everyone else here lives, lots of kids are out of town in the summer, so I don't see a large group of children that would be involved anyway. Summer events wouldn't be our cross-country season until the end of August. Now is the time when kids start to transition into cross-country season. In the summer, we could still utilize the track, because summer is the time when they have the age group track meets, so the kids would have to be on the track anyway practicing those events. So it's really a fall we're talking about for cross-country.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
A quick question,
Sure.
one or two. The market area for the kids, typically, or almost exclusively Ryetown, or are you outreaching beyond that?
We're not setting, when I was in Bronxville, we made it exclusively for the Bronxville families. We want to open this up to anyone who's interested. Because when I had the Bronxville Track Club, I would constantly, once your team gets established and put on the website for USA Track and Field under the youth track meets, any parent can click on youth track clubs and find a club they're interested in and call. I would receive calls from all over the area. So I wanted to be able to take that ability and open it up to any, if parents are willing to drive their kids 30, 40 minutes to come to our practices, that's great. I would welcome having kids from every corner of the county. That would be fantastic.
If you've scoped out the park, is there an area that you feel is more appropriate for cross-country running,
Yes.
or are you talking about the entire park?
I used to coach cross-country at Harrison High School, and I used to have the kids run to that park. And we would use generally the outer loop of the park on the grass. We never went off onto the beach. We weren't on the sidewalks. We were in there on the grass, which is best for the kids' legs, obviously, and to get some strength training in. And the practices aren't, there's only so much running they can do, so we're not planning on being there for 2 hours at a time. When it comes to cross-country running, the kids can get in and get out and get a good workout in 1 hour.
My next question kind of comes off of Bishop's question. That is, at the time, and I'm not sure what the impact with vehicles parked on the site and how that all would work out with.
I foresee it as a drop-off program for the parents, dropping their children off to us, having us supervise them, have the workout, giving them a time when we're going to end, and then be back to pick their children up. If parents want to stay, that's on them. They would have to find appropriate parking. I'm not going to direct them to any specific parking. That would be on the parents for their responsibility. But we foresee it as an opportunity for the parents to drop the kids off, participate in an activity, and then come back and pick them back up.
And I also see there's a membership fee from each participant, and then it looks like, depending on the discipline, whether it's or the time of year, cross-country, indoor, or whatever, there's another fee on top of
It's
that.
it's the length of the season. They can choose to be an annual membership. We use guidelines. Greenwich Track and Field, there's a club in Greenwich, and we've looked around on the website at different track clubs and got a feel for what the fees were. As a parent, I could choose to have my child enrolled for the full year. There's a full year membership. But if I know that my child is a lacrosse kid in the spring and is not going to participate, I can choose just to participate in the fall and winter, and there's a set rate for those as well. So they can choose all, or they can choose 1 or 2 seasons. It's up to them.
And the proceeds go towards, I imagine, the staff budget and so forth?
Staff budget, materials, supplies for track and field. There's lots of things that we would need to be able to have for the kids to be able to learn the events, and uniform fees. Part of it goes to them joining the USA Track and Field, because in order for them to participate in some of those meets, they have to have membership in that, which covers them with the insurance. So some of the proceeds go to that as well.
And you folks are primarily 501c3, probably?
Yes.
So, in any of the other venues where you operate, and forgive me, Mr. Chairman.
No, please go ahead. These are all questions I had as well.
And the other venues you operate, do you pay rent on any of the facilities that you're using?
I have never in my past had to. When I was at Bronxville, the school district allowed us to use the track as long as I provided to the athletic director the certificate of insurance through USA Track and Field.
Well, what's the wear and tear that you anticipate on the park?
Pretty minimal at most. The kids won't be allowed to wear spikes at practice, so it's not like they're going to be ripping up. They're wearing their running shoes and running on the grass. And if it's bad weather and rain, they're not going to be in there in the mud, because that's just looking for trouble.
And what, in effect, are you asking for? Just usage of the park, or are you asking us to waive the parking fee when people come in?
We're not worried about the parking fee. Like I said, that's that'll be the parents' responsibility. We just want legal ability to use the park without causing any trouble with any other organizations that may have been scheduled. We want to make sure we're doing this the right way.
We have, just for your edification, we have the Portchester High School cross-country team practices at Crawford Park. Whatever their seasonality is, that's what they do. They have provided us with insurance. I don't know, sometimes there's 25 kids, sometimes there's 10, but they've been doing that for the past 2 years fairly effectively. Now, Crawford Park is a little different than
you guys are,
Park.
For you, did I read correctly, you Crawford or Rydtown Park, or is that the wrong one?
No, and I also asked for specific dates to hold a meet. That's why I'm a little...
I think that's the next
agenda item.
That's the next one.
That'll be me stepping out. That'll be the next agenda item.
Just
But
happens
is
to be
it
the
the
track
same?
agenda.
But the names are the same.
It's the same topic, 2 different organizations. This is a separate track and field club. That will be a school asking.
Okay, but, all right.
We're not asking for
Same
a
names on both communications.
Yes, there's the same
gotcha.
coach involved.
Gotcha.
We're not asking for any meet venue. We don't need the facility to hold any sort of cross-country meets.
So you're asking for the use of the park twice a week, basically.
For practice.
Year-round, for practice, and I think the other is just a single event. Is that right?
That's correct.
Well, yeah.
Please, Mr. Brett.
Just as a question, are you asking for the use of the park Tuesdays and Thursdays year-round, or Tuesdays and Thursdays primarily in the fall?
It's primarily the cross-country season, because
Right.
once track and field starts, we need to really be, well, in the winter we don't it's going to be dark by the time the kids get there. We would be at a track or someplace where it's well lit. In the spring, we concentrate solely on track and field, and that will be us at the track teaching the kids the events. So it's really August, middle of August through beginning of November.
Okay. I am aware that there are several communities that have elementary and middle school track and field teams, and I know that there's certainly not that at the elementary school level for kids. I think there is a track team and a cross country team in the middle school.
Yes.
So this might be a nice resource for families, but I am concerned about the wear and tear on the park. Would you be willing to work with staff to stay on gravel paths and things like that if the weather, if the grass seems to be in...
As a coach and knowing liability issues, I can tell you that if it were muddy and wet, I wouldn't want kids running amok on the fields because you're just looking for trouble. One kid goes down and slips and falls on the slippery grass, and that's my home, my car, and everything else. So I can tell you that if the weather's bad, first of all, we probably wouldn't be meeting. If it has been a day of rain and the fields are wet, then we would look to use the gravel and the side and those cement areas of the park.
How many members are you anticipating attracting?
This is a good question because we've had a large group of people reach out to us. We're just not sure what the final commitment's going to be until we get up and going. Cross-country season is usually not your largest turnout, only because there are so many kids involved in youth soccer and everything else. If we get 50 kids, we'll probably be lucky. And that could be age range of 5 and up. So, we may have a small group of, primary grade school kids and then a larger group of the upper grade level kids. So, can't promise you numbers.
Yes, very much.
Well, it sounds like a terrific program, so thank you for putting this together, and part of what we want to do is have more active communities, and this fits right into that mode. But you have to paint a picture for me, because the letter says practices and meets that was submitted. You said evenings or afternoons. So just take me through a typical day. I'm a kid, Tuesday, what do I do, and where physically am I actually running in the park?
Okay. I cannot make a commitment to be there before 5 o'clock p.m., so nothing will happen. The other coaches are busy as well. They have jobs and families. So nothing would happen before 5 p.m. Correct. And when you show up at the facility, at the park, there will be, on those 2 days a week, we anticipate having some sort of training that would, depending on the age level and the commitment of the kids. We're going to try to make it light and fun, to try to introduce them to what running is about, make it something that hopefully that they'll latch onto and want to make a lifetime commitment out of. We're not out to be a serious track and field club where we're out to become number one in the area. We want to get the kids out. We want to get them involved, get them off the sofa. I have a 13-year-old who loves her cell phone and loves her iPad, and if I can get her to run every day, that would be fantastic.
Right, so the age range again is what?
They can be kindergarten and up.
And what is up?
Up through adults, if there are adults that are interested in getting in shape.
Okay. And so 5 o'clock, I show up. I get dropped off where? In the parking lot area?
Well, we haven't gotten the approval for the park, so we didn't plan that. I would imagine the safest place for them to get dropped off would be in that parking lot area, so that as coaches, we're in the park, we're visible. Parents can pull in, drop off, and leave them with us.
Okay, and so then you're going to run where, around the circumference of the park?
On the grass area around the outside of the park.
Okay.
Correct.
Multiple times.
Depending on the grade
level. And you
level.
said for about an hour.
We're between warm-up, doing an activity, the workout, and then the cool-down, up to an hour.
Yeah, the only thing that really concerns me is that August time frame, because Tuesdays, Thursday nights,
it gets
we're
very
actually
busy.
trying to drive more events to the park, given the weather. But the other cross-country seasons, because we really don't open up full force until May, let's say, May 1st. Mm-hmm. So there may be maybe there, but really it's that time period in August, which is a concern for me.
Right.
But in theory, I think it's a good concept.
Post Labor Day, it works fairly well.
Right.
And on those days, given in August, if it's a very busy evening, as the coaches, I would say right away, having had to deal with issues with space, in Bronxville I had teams of up to 50 boys in cross country, and sometimes you go to where you planned on having your workout, and there's a soccer team, and all of a sudden you have to plan something else. I would say if that were an evening and we showed up and there were And first of all, in August, how many kids are we going to have? And honestly, because they're going to be on vacation. So if we have 20 kids, I can keep them along the wall over on the side, going back and forth, doing repeats over there, so they're not getting in anyone else's way. They're still getting their workout in, and we're in and out without any trouble.
Don't we charge the, what's the workout that I keep promising to go to?
Boot camps by the beach.
Boot camp.
Yeah, they pay for parking.
We charge them some, there's a fee, right?
It's about $35 a session.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, she pays for
Right.
That's basically a for-profit business.
Well, but this is, I mean,
It's a 501c3.
I won't pay until you do the workout. How's that?
that's fine.
You start doing boot camp, you'll pay.
I'll show up.
And if those get you in shape, you can come to ours for free.
Just trying to be fair. No,
Right, I understand.
Well, yeah, that was, yeah. Yeah, it's going to get dark.
What a,
And no one's in the park.
Right.
I think it's good. This will be nice to have someone in the park, I think, right?
There's no lights.
There's no personnel.
Well, we have no personnel as of October 31st. And we have very limited personnel during the month of October because we're shutting down.
Yeah, but they'll have insurance. I think the...
Well, they have to provide their own supervision.
And honestly, most of the schedules that are out for youth cross-country are done pretty much by the middle of October, unless you have some superstar athletes that qualify for the Junior Olympic events or something later on in October, early November. You're not going to have anyone showing up for practice because the season will be pretty much done.
Well, in addition to which, the park is dark.
Exactly.
And which means the other...
I just want to try and get to consistency.
Sure, I get it.
It's a wonderful program, and I think it's good to, make full use of the park. I have some concern about wear and tear, but it sounds like you'll be sensitive to that. I guess the only question I really have is, as I said, we charge the boot camp. What happened to that soccer group that came in? Did they ever move forward?
To my knowledge, it did not materialize.
Still on the table. Issues that they
So they couldn't.
Inflexible as far as the
Right, but we were going to charge them as well. What we did,
Yeah.
we were going to charge them as
We
well.
are a 501c3.
Right, so I think it's just, I don't, we need to find, I think what we look to do is have you guys pay some nominal fee.
Right.
That's consistent with other users, that's all. I just want to be consistent, I don't see any problem.
I have one other question, Mr. Chairman. What kind of a commitment in time-wise, duration? Are we talking season to season? We're talking year to year?
For that part,
What is it that
just
you-
that fall season is
Just-
all we're
just the
looking
fall
for,
season.
because the rest of the seasons really we're
Begin to
tied up
end
in
and
track
end.
and field.
Well, look, I'm very happy to have you guys come in this fall. I think if the commission's agreeable, I'm happy for you to work. Bishop, you can find something that's consistent with what we charge other groups. Oh, do you have something?
Sure.
Yeah.
In fact, we have somebody here from Resurrection. In past years, they've been using Rye-Town Park for that very same thing, so you already have a group there, and maybe...
Yeah, so you made the mistake of asking.
As I'm coming up here, I was thinking, when I was running with the Harrison kids, I was 50, and I never even got permission. We were all over that park.
Oh, man.
It is a public park, so,
Right.
So,
the question in my mind is, once you start having a precedent of having groups, where do you draw the line? How many groups would we allow to? We have two who are looking to do it already.
well,
Resurrection.
Resurrection, I guess, it sounds like they used the park for the training, and then tonight they're asking for the actual event. Is that it?
Well, I don't know if they ever got official approval.
Well, I think what I'd like to do is, I'd like to get approval for this group to come into the park. And I'd request that you guys make some good faith commitment to work out with the staff and Mr.
Absolutely. We want this to be a community event.
Exactly, right. To make some form of payment that's consistent with the kind of payments that other groups are making. And I don't
Fantastic.
expect it to be, substantial or anything like that, just consistent with what, is the board happy to approve it on that basis?
Sounds good.
Yeah,
that
depending
sounds
on the number of people, though, we still don't have a sense of...
Well,
so
right.
we can-
Right, and let's do this on sort of a pilot basis,
Yes.
right? On an
Right.
initial year,
one
initial
season.
season basis, and then we can see how it works.
And I'd be willing to show up and give you updates and let you know what's happening.
I think at the end, maybe if you could come at the end of the season, come back
Right.
or whatever, after, and
That's a good
just,
idea.
That would be good.
I think you have a sense of the concerns that
Absolutely.
we're sharing with you, and so if it works fine this year, I'm very confident we'll be able to do it again next year.
Thank you.
Let's agree to the end of the year on that basis. and then if you just come back to report to us. And
Sounds great.
how it went. Wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That's great. Thanks so much. Should we vote on this?
Motion on it?
Yeah, I'll get a motion to approve as described.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Bishop, would you call the roll?
Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, we better vote.
Commissioner Brett?
Come all the way
Yes,
over here now.
yeah.
Commissioner Pagano?
Yes.
Commissioner French?
Yes.
Commissioner Carbon?
Yes. Okay, resurrection. John.
And by the way, I have to say, it's very impressive that Bishop got this on our agenda, because I got this email this morning.
Oh, really?
And emailed Bishop when I got it.
Yeah, we were
Great.
adding stuff to the
Scrambling,
agenda
yes.
all day
So I
today.
appreciate that.
I thought you guys were for the other one. You guys are,
Good evening.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good.
My name's
stay-
John.
Yep.
My name's John Morash. I'm the assistant principal and athletic director at Resurrection School. Thank you for seeing us this evening. I know this just started this morning with the correspondence, so thank you very much. We are here primarily to request permission to have a cross-country meet on October 10th at Rytown Park. There would be approximately 150 runners participating. Arrival would be by 3 o'clock, or I should say by 3:30. Between 3 o'clock and 3:30, there would be a walkthrough of the course at 3:45. The race would start by 4 o'clock. The race would be done and everyone would be off and out of the park, we estimate, by about 4:45. We are insured through Catholic Mutual Group, which is through the Archdiocese, and additionally, our two cross-country coaches are insured through the USAT and the USATF. We have been running practices at, as came up before, we have been running practices at Rytown Park for at least the last 2 years. Last year was my first year at Resurrection School, so I know that for at least the last 2 years we were running practices there. We hope to continue that as well going into this year. A little different in the past 2 years, I guess. Basically, it's been a drop-off pickup. What we're thinking about doing this year is having the students run possibly from the school and then return to the school, or possibly continue the drop-off pickup, which seems to be working out in the past. So basically, we're here to request mainly for the meet on October 10th.
terrific. Any questions, comments?
What day of the week is that? What day?
Oh, that's
October
a
10th.
Thursday?
I know, what day is it?
I believe it's a Thursday. I'm sorry, I don't have.
Oh,
I
I don't know.
For you right now.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
but it's a
believe
Thursday.
I believe it's a Thursday. Yeah.
Okay.
And we obviously have staff in the park on October 10th, correct?
Well, we have maintenance staff and security staff. We have maybe 2 or 3 maintenance and two security, or one security guy.
Okay. All right, perfect.
Any idea how many participants you'd have in a meet like this?
About 150. Yeah, we're part of the Fairchester Athletic Association, which is a combination of Fairfield County and Westchester County private and Catholic schools. I called our commissioner today just to verify some information, and he said approximately 150 runners.
Most of them, I imagine, probably carpool it.
Yes, I did ask that question as well. There are, he figured a couple of schools that might bus in, because again, Fairfield, some schools way up in Fairfield might bus their students down, their student athletes.
September 10th?
October 10th.
Oh, October 10th.
Thursday.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Please.
So take me through the race now. So
Right. So basically, we haven't walked the course. I went to the park with our two cross-country coaches. We ran from Resurrection up to the park the other day. And, we haven't mapped out a course yet. I did eyeball the parking lot. I'm willing to work with any personnel at Rytown Park in terms of parking and obviously the fee. If that were to come up, obviously we could.
but it's one
that
race.
work.
It's not a series of
No, one
events,
race.
right? One race, and you're going to have to do multiple laps around, right?
And most likely it would just be the perimeter of the park.
Perimeter of the park. Okay.
Yeah.
Unless we can get access to that little nature end of it that you have again, but we haven't mapped out the course.
You mean
right?
using Playland and Ada Freed
And then
Sanctuary?
coming back and
Okay.
then having kind of like
Yeah.
having the finish line at that field. And then when we practice there, it's important to note that we only do the quality work on the field. So the warm-up, the cool-down, that is not done on the field. So the wear and tear isn't as bad as one may think if I say I'm going to host a cross-country practice, because only probably 20 to 30 minutes of the hard running is done there. The rest is off.
Okay.
And that is something that we're still collaborating on, and that's not something that would happen every day the week either.
But you'd have to work with the county on using their property then, if you wanted to go beyond Whitetown, right?
Right, Playland
Bishop.
and
Yes,
Playland Park.
we end at that stone wall.
Okay.
So anything after that
Okay.
is playland.
So I think it's Rye Beach Avenue that comes down, the north side of the park. That's where we end. But not that you couldn't do it. We do walks all the time with community groups that start at Wright Town Park, they go through Playland Park, and they come back to Wright Town Park. I mean, it's doable. You just have to coordinate with two entities.
Okay. Thank you
Well,
very
you
much.
know, I think it sounds to me that again,
That's great.
good, terrific. Thanks for bringing this to us. I think it sounds like we're supportive of this. We'd love to have you do it. And if, once we've approved, if you need us to assist you with the county and put you in touch with the right people, if you do want to take it, the course, obviously you can run around our park 2 or 3 times, so you can do the longer course.
No, absolutely.
So if you need help with the county, I'm sure Mr. Nwatney can help you out.
I do want to bring up something because you should be aware we have had problems with the Archdiocese insurance in the past. They have not been willing to give us a clear, if you will, insurance policy as we have asked. They are willing to issue conditional insurance, which we are not willing to accept, and which our insurer has advised us that we should not accept. So I just want to put that on the table. That has to be resolved, because that was a significant issue in the past couple of years.
What's the issue?
They want to they're willing to indemnify us and so forth, subject to quote-unquote negligence on the part of employees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The concern we have is the park is full of potholes and dips and so forth, and some of those get created during an overnight storm. There's no negligence involved necessarily, but someone could get hurt in a situation like that, now causing a legal problem that has to be resolved. So all of our other event conductors, if you will, give us the unconditional insurance that we ask for. The Archdiocese has been singular in terms of not willing to do so.
Isn't there a way for us to just say the risk is theirs?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, but they're not willing to accept
Well, I
it.
don't understand if they're insuring you. It's one thing.
Well, they're specifically including wording that our insurance
Well, why don't
people
we- yeah, why
have
don't we-
said
okay,
do
so-
not accept it.
Right, so we'll get with Mr. Noto to our town attorney to work with you guys to get something that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think, as I said, last year was my first year at Resurrection School, and I believe I was in touch with, I don't know if I spoke with yourself or
Probably did.
Mr. Bishop through
Yep.
emails, and I thought we had addressed this, and we did get a new insurance.
Eventually, they
was all
came
together.
around, so I'm hoping
Right.
that that's the case.
We have the exact same certificate. I believe that was updated from last year, and I have
Good.
that.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect any of these agreements, the previous one and this one, are subject to Paul's input.
Right.
Yes.
Corporate counsel.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And by the way, this is rain or shine, right? You don't call off track events.
You know what? In my experience, again, through last year, they did cancel meets depending on how bad the weather was.
Superstorm Sandy, they didn't run it.
They did not cancel. So, but
Wonderful. It's not like our day, John. What are they? Okay, can I get a motion to approve? Oh, please, yes, Ann.
Will the parking lot be open? No. For the cars? No. Okay, that means they'd be parking
Sure they
on
will.
Rye Beach
Why wouldn't
Avenue.
the parking lot be open?
Sure it will.
No, hold on, let's just clarify the question. We're not going to be charging for parking that day. No, but the parking lot itself will be open.
Should be
yes.
open, yeah.
Open.
Yeah.
Yes,
The only
Denise.
problem is if they're bringing buses, the buses are not easy, that the buses can't go through the parking lanes with the booth. Somebody has to be there to undo the chain. It's the only way the buses can get in.
Okay, so you guys should be aware of that. We'll just coordinate with staff that
Yeah,
day.
there's just not enough
Okay.
We got
clearance.
school buses coming through, and so,
And I'm just requesting
Yep.
that you don't park on Rye Beach Avenue, which they've done, Resurrection has done before.
Well,
when
it's-
they
so-
had practices in the park.
yeah,
The mothers are there, they're parked on both sides of the street.
right, so
It's too small for that.
so John, if you could encourage
Absolutely.
your people, that the parking lot will be open. We won't be charging, so there's no issue there.
Great.
And if you could encourage your people to park and use the parking lot inside rather than Rye Beach Avenue.
okay, absolutely. And who?
Yeah, right, and it's-
Yeah.
Well, if you do,
They'll be there, look, there'll be mega room
Okay,
in the parking lot. There'll be absolutely no problem parking in the parking lot, so I think,
Thursday afternoon.
right, so just to have people do that.
If you are working with Playland, you may be able to use that parking lot that they have at the swimming pool there.
Okay.
Great. All right, so can I get a motion to approve the use of the park for the Resurrection Track and Field event on October 10th?
So moved.
And a second?
Second?
Bishop?
All right, Commissioner Brett,
Yes.
Commissioner Pagano.
Yes.
Commissioner French.
Yes.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming. Thank you. Good to see you. So is there anything else we need to vote on tonight, Bishop?
Hang on one
Any other
second.
major
You have one
decisions?
more item, I think.
Okay.
Patterson is here.
Great.
But didn't we want to talk about extending the week? I thought I heard that.
Yeah,
It's in
that's-
yours, but don't we
that's-
want to vote on that or not?
Oh, is that something? Yeah, that would probably require a vote.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
after,
bring Heather up, and
Welcome.
then we'll try and get you, sorry, Mayor Pagano, we'll try and
Think
get
it's
you
a good
out as soon as
idea.
possible.
Fred, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
The school starting on the 9th.
Right.
Thank you.
There's a lot of schools are delaying.
That was smart.
So good evening. I know several of you for a while now. Others of you may not know me as well. I'm an artist and I live in Rye. And for the past 3 years, I've organized the Oyster Arts and Music Festival over on the boardwalk at Playland. Long story short, I have been working on this year's festival for the past 2 months while away. And I came back last week, and yesterday I was told that the dates we had the boardwalk for, we may not do the festival. So basically, I'm coming to you with a fully formed festival featuring over 20 artists, musicians, children's area by the Westchester Children's Museum, Clay Art Center, Rye Art Center, Edith Reed Sanctuary, pretty much all ready to go. And wondering if we might have a home at Rye Town Park on September 21st and 22nd so that I don't let down all these people.
What was your deal with the county?
Basically, it was arranged through John Ambrose.
No, what was the charge?
Basically, we gave them 30% of the artist booths, which I can do for the park as well. We did not charge parking at Playland. However, if you wanted to charge parking for this event,
Are we
that
still
can
charging
always-
on the
This is
21st and
on one day?
21st and 22nd.
Yes, we are, I
On a
think.
Saturday?
That's a weekend.
Saturday.
Saturday and Sunday.
Parties in the pavilions those days.
We would not need any use of the pavilions. The flow of it would start, if you're familiar with the 3 benches right after the restaurant along the path, would start at those 3 benches with artist booths. Then there's the large rock. Artist booths would continue down the path past that. As
Heading
far
towards
as
Playland.
basically
Yeah.
similar to the layout I had, where we don't block the water view.
Right.
We just have it so people can stroll, look at the art, hear the music, do the activities with the kids, and have a nice afternoon out. It's been a nice community event for the past 3 years, and I'd hate to see
Right, but
it
when
die.
is the triathlon? Is that the following weekend?
That's the following
Okay.
weekend.
All right.
Okay,
So we're open, then we don't have any events?
Right, during September,
Yeah, okay.
right, we're open on weekends and we're charging post-season pricing.
What is that? Do you remember?
That's just parking.
No, I
What
mean,
it
how much
costs?
is it?
$5.
I think it's 3 and 5.
3 and 5?
3 if you have a permit, 5 if you
That
don't.
seems reasonable.
Good. Well, if that works for you, Heather, it works for me.
That works for me.
Great.
And of course,
Just
well-
could you obviously coordinate the, Fred, you guys need to coordinate closely, setting up a bill, the setting up booths. and-
Is Seaside
Will there be any
Johnny's involved?
damage?
Seaside Johnny's is not involved.
How about we
This
get,
Will there be any damage afterwards when we take
There will
these
not be
booths away?
any damage at all. It's either an easy pop-up tent or a table. There's no digging in the ground. There's no really disturbance of anything.
Mr. Insurance, do you have insurance for this thing as well?
I do not have insurance for it. What I've always done with artists on the boardwalk the past 3 years is they sign a waiver. Their insurance is their own responsibility. If they have it, they're in charge of their own work. They're responsible for its removal, its security, and neither myself nor the park is held liable for anything that happens to the
Can we
work.
see a copy of the waiver?
Yeah, share
Yes.
the waiver with.
I can get a copy to you.
And what about cleanup, Bishop? Do we have a staff to follow after tents are taken down, everything, whatever?
Yeah, we still, during the month of September, we have a skeleton staff, more or less, but we do have a few, extra people on. It's the end of September. Once the triathlon is done, that's when we pretty much lop staff down to an absolute minimum. So we would have an adequate staff to be able to deal with that.
And no need for power, lighting, electric?
Two places I would need power would be at the lifeguard station, which is the natural sort of stage for the music we have, which is mostly acoustic singer-songwriters, but they do require a PA with a mic, which I provide for them. I would need power right there for that. And the Westchester Children's Museum had requested power from me when we were originally scheduled on the boardwalk. I would ideally locate them, according to the map, over by that north building where I did
Okay.
see electrical outlets.
Both of them have electrical.
I kind of scoped everything out before approaching you guys.